All right, we're going to talk about graphing functions, specifically two that are very strange. These are horizontal and vertical graphs. If you've gotten to this point, the expectation is that you feel comfortable graphing things that look like y equals 2x plus 5. Specifically, you can find points to graph these, or you can use the fact that this number right here, the 2, is the slope, and the 5 here is the y-intercept. And so many students will get to be able to graph these, but then get the questions like A and B I have over here on the left and struggle. Let me just show you, there's not a lot of thinking with these. They're actually easier. They're just kind of strange outlier type examples. This graph of y equals 6, and again, you expect there to be an expression over here on the right in terms of x, but there's not. It's just y equals 6. What this is, by the way, and the second example is very similar to this, is if you made a table of values, it's like a very, I don't know, it's unchanging function. If you plug in a -2 for x, this function gives you out 6. If you plug in a 0 for x, this function gives you out 6. If you plug a 5 in for x, this function gives you out 6. If you plug a 5,123 into this function, it gives you out 6. This is a very stubborn function that for any x value you choose, you get a y value of 6 out of this. What that does is when you graph this, and I'll just kind of choose, let's say 6 is right here on the y-axis, this just creates a horizontal line at y equals 6. Because again, if you thought about plotting this, you at -2 you have 6, at 0 you have 6, at 5 you have 6, at 5,000 yada yada, which just messed up with my scale, but whatever, it's at 6 also. What you get is a perfectly vertical line or horizontal line at y equals 6, just like this. Because again, this is the line that represents all of the points on this graph that have a y value of 6. If we go to this next graph right here of x equals -2, we have just the opposite. In this case, for any y value, we just get -2 as an x value. And what this is a graph of all the points that have -2 as an x value at 0, let's say a height here, down here. And what you would get is a graph that is, and what you get is a graph that is perfectly vertical that goes through x equals 2. And what you get is a graph that is perfectly vertical at x equals 2, or sorry, x equals -2. So in the end, these graphs are actually pretty easy. There's not really much you need to do. If you get an example like this that has y equals in just a number, that represents just a completely horizontal line where all of the points have a y value of 6. In this case, we have just x equals a number, which is even stranger. What it ends up just being is a completely vertical line that goes through x equals -2.